96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and for all my YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe. And welcome to another Black Friday. Okay, some of you black folks have gotten too comfortable with your place in this country. I don't think y'all heard me. Some of you black folk have gotten too comfortable with your place in this country. Now, before we dive into today's show, let me say, I've been fortunate enough to travel to approximately 8 different countries, and I had a wonderful time in each one of them. However, I believe the U.S. is one of the best, if not the best, country to live in. With that being said, we can't forget how this country was founded. It was annexed, stolen, jacked, or whatever you want to call it. We can't forget how black folks got to this country. We were brought over as slaves. We can't forget how black folks were treated in the past and currently today when it comes to legislation. Now, I know some people are sick and tired of hearing the same old talk about racism, oppression, etc. In fact, some people would say black folks need to get over the past. Well, believe it or not, there are people like me who are sick and tired of talking about the past. Nevertheless, we can't ignore the questionable things that have happened in the past, especially when the present resembles the past. In other words, as long as America continue to lift up her skirt, Freddie G will continue to pull down her panties. Now I know we have listeners all over the world, but today's show is for black folk in America. To all our black listeners in the U.S., I have a rhetorical question for y'all. Are y'all ready for Jim Crow 2.0? For those who don't know what Jim Crow is, Jim Crow ended around or about 1965. Now here we are 60 years later, and remnants of Jim Crow is starting to resurface. Again, if you don't know what Jim Crow is, I encourage you to Google. Now, I know we've talked about Donald Trump in past episodes, and I'm sure we'll be talking about him in future episodes. So with that being said, fellas, I want y'all to do something for me that may be a little difficult to do, and that is, don't think about Donald Trump as your current president and what he has done thus far. I want y'all to think about the Donald Trump, the real estate mogul. Donald Trump, the celebrity who've partied with a few rappers back in the day. Donald Trump, the former president of the United States. Now take about 5 seconds to reflect on that guy. And give me your honest opinion about that guy. Is he any different today than he was back then? If so, why?
Can I say what I want to say?
You can say whatever you want to say.
Him.
This your show.
Fuck him. Him is his real estate, his presidential, his mind frame, his act on how he treat people, or how he perceive people, the way he's prejudiced, all of it. Fuck him.
I think he's worse now than he was then. To answer your question in regards to is he the same guy? Again, I think he's worse, and reason being for him to have been reelected after all the dirt that's been uncovered. I think it just made his head blow up. You know, he feels like he's definitely above the law now. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't before, if he didn't think that way before, I think he definitely has that idea in mind now that he's above the law.
I think he is who he say he was. He's said it before. He never hit it. Now, he's always been who he is. As far as getting worse, I think he had this on the agenda regardless. Freddie G, you were talking to me about affirmative action that was removed when Biden was in office.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with Biden. However, I just think his power, even when Biden was in office, was still because
that residue.
Yeah, the residue was still there because if the president wasn't able, to make I guess a say so on the affirmative action, not taking it away, and it was taken away under Biden. I'm pretty sure Biden was against that. I'm not 100% positive.
Yeah, he was.
He was against it. So to me, the residue from Trump from before, honestly, I think Trump was not ever out of office. He was just out of office physically.
Well, in regards to the affirmative action, and I'll be briefly touching on that just a little bit later on in the show. Mm-hmm. A lot of that that was overturned in the Supreme Court, and we know that the Supreme Court leans heavy toward the right wing versus left wing. So, bottom line is, y'all believe that he was a racist back then and he's a racist today? Yes or no?
Yeah, I believe.
Yes.
Y'all believe that currently he don't care about black people like he didn't care about black people back then, or people in general, poor people? Let me not say
the common man.
Let's say poor people instead of black people. Do y'all believe that he doesn't care about poor people?
I believe that.
That's correct.
I believe that as well.
Do y'all believe that he is a womanizer back then as well as today?
I believe that.
I believe he don't care. He just don't care. Yeah, he is. He's a womanizer.
Okay.
He's a poor human being.
Okay. Now, to our black listeners in the U.S., if you support the MAGA movement or know a black person who support the MAGA movement, your president is keeping his promise. Project 2025 is happening real time. And at the end of the day, black people will suffer the most, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The Democratic Party tried to warn us about Project 2025. However, being that Kamala Harris is not the sitting president, that tells me that most Americans didn't listen to the Democratic warning.
At all.
Mm-mm. So, as a reminder, I'm going to point out what Project 2025 say and what has actually happened or has happened actually currently right now. So, when it comes to DEI, last week you covered DEI. Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to DEI, Project 2025 say the next conservative president needs to eliminate every one of Biden administration's wrongful and burdensome ideology projects. That's what Project 2025 say. Now, here's what has happened so far. Trump has taken significant efforts to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion without the government and the private, throughout the government and the private sector. One of the DEI policies Trump revoked is a 60-year-old policy from 1965 that prohibited employment discrimination. So that was one of the things that he actually took away.
Mm-hmm. On the DEI, I've seen Target say they're doing away with it. Mm-hmm. But then I've also, and that's the question I want to ask about that. There was another company that came out, it was an airline. Mm-hmm. They say they're not scrapping DEI. I didn't know if it was an option or not.
When it comes to the federal,
mm-hmm.
he told the federal.
It's all federal agencies.
And so people are the private sectors are starting to adopt what's going on with the federal.
Gotcha. Wouldn't airline be considered federal? No?
Not all.
You know what? That's a good question. I think it is because it's in the air.
Yeah.
And let me just use this as an example. but for it being federal, if you anyway get a package sent to you through airmail or whatever, FedEx, a lot of that stuff comes over in flights, and then it gets to truck or ground, and then it goes to a warehouse. If you receive any type of, let's just use marijuana, that's a federal charge because it was shipped by plane.
Well, depending on what type of marijuana and how much marijuana or drugs, you can drive it, and that still could be a federal charge.
Right.
So what about you have private companies, like, let's say you got a helicopter that does tours around the city, and that's somebody's personal business. And so they have 3 helicopters that do tours around the cities. And that's their own private business. This is what they do. And their employees, they hire their employees, their mechanics and all that stuff to work on those helicopters. That's a private business. That
Right.
doesn't have anything to do with federal because
Right.
they're flying using federal airspace.
Right.
So with that being said, man, like, a lot of times we can get things a little misconstrued when it comes to DEI, thinking that it's all about color,
Right.
and all about the color of your skin,
Yeah.
right? Now that's part of it, but we got diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity,
Okay.
the condition of having or being composed of different elements. That includes gender, ethnicity, sexual origin, disabilities, age, culture, class, and religion. That's the diversity part of it. So when they're dismantling this stuff, yeah, they can look at your color, but they also can look at your gender. They can also look at whether or not you have a disability. They can also look at your age. So let's think about it. Let's say if one of us loses a job right now and we're in our 50s. You're qualified, you're good, you do what you do. But they ain't got to hire you because they got this young joker now coming in. And so they can they can go on and say, well, that joker, they're too old.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when it comes to equality, so the quality of fairness and justice. So bottom line is compensation. The equality can affect your compensation, meaning that you may not be paid. There could be somebody on the side of you that does the same job, do exactly what you do,
And they get paid more.
You getting paid less than what
Right.
they're getting paid.
And you're not supposed to talk about it.
No, exactly. Yeah, you're not.
And so you're saying because of the color of your skin, they could pay you less.
Well, what I'm saying is, earlier I said the diversity, and I gave you all things I gave you a list of things that makes us diverse. Gender, ethnicity, which is your skin color and stuff, your sexual origin, your disability, your age, your culture, your class, your religion. Those are all of the things that makes us diverse. That's
Right.
the diversity.
Okay.
The equity is the quality of fairness and justice.
Throughout the company.
So you know, if you're not being paid fair compared to somebody that's sitting next to you, or let's say you don't get the right justice within the company. You know, hey, you're not treating me fair. You reprimanded me for having my shoes untied, but here it is, Walter. His shoes stay untied, and he don't get rolled up. He don't get reprimanded. That's not fair. Or fair compensation. You're not treating me equally.
And pretty much there's nothing we could do about it at this point in
At
time
this point.
now.
Right.
And then here's the crazy part. Companies can get, they have wiggle room. So they can get slick with it. You know, the slick things that they can do. The doors that are open by taking the DEI, so much slick stuff that they can do underhanded.
Yeah.
That'll be legal. That's the painful part about
And
it.
so we just covered the diversity and the equity. Here's the inclusion, right? Inclusion. The act or state of including or of being included within a group or structure. So if you're working for a company and you're a part of this group or this structure, you would want to feel included, right?
Exactly.
So basically, all that's being said is, I want my voice being heard. But if you're not included, then that means that, okay, well, damn.
Exactly.
Slash, you may be working for a company and hey, I think that we need to do X, Y, and Z, or here's a suggestion, such. Well, your voice ain't being heard. They ain't got to hear
Yeah,
you.
we're having a Christmas party and you're not invited.
Yeah, your opinion don't matter.
That's
That's
it.
painful.
So
at a job,
employees
especially-
feel that their
yeah.
voice your voice will not be heard. You agree or disagree, K-Money?
I agree.
Okay. So now, moving on. When it comes to border security and defense, here's what Project 2025 say. Project 2025 say, increase detention facilities for undocumented immigrants. Take steps that would give local law enforcement more jurisdiction over identifying undocumented immigrants. That's what Project 2025 say.
Remember the slick stuff?
Here-
Go ahead.
Here's what's actually happening in real time. Donald Trump has started mass deportation. He has reopened Guantanamo Bay
Yeah.
to detain illegal immigrants. He has sent 3,600 U.S. troops to the southern border. He has threatened tariffs on Canada and Mexico if they don't tighten up their border. So that is, I just told you what Project 2025 say and what's happening in real time.
Now, I just talked to, ICE came to their jobs, and they were shut down for a couple days.
Oh, yeah. They doing that.
Yeah, it's bad. And not only that, remember I said the slick stuff. You said it's mass deportation. So it's not just Hispanics. A lot of people think it's just Hispanics.
It's all
It's
forms.
not. It's all. So even Africans. Cubans. That opens the door for
Yeah.
black folks to get stopped for
Puerto
no
Ricans.
reason. It opens
Because
the
of
door.
what you look like.
Because of what you look like.
Yeah.
That opens the door for you. Hey, I thought you was African. Let me
Yeah.
make you eat this cement. Lay on your hood of your car that's hot as hell in 103 days. Let me do all this because I thought you were an immigrant.
And
I
see-
could see that. The slick stuff. That's what I mean.
In my opinion, those that are citizens, I feel like that's harassment.
It is, and it's so unfair.
Yeah, but then they backed by what you say that was that one that was signed. They're backed by that, so they could easily say, "I thought he was an African."
And they can, and actually, not, and just to go a little bit further into it, and we using the immigrants as an example. So they do find an immigrant, and they say, "Hey, we're gonna arrest you," da da da. But they find out that the person is not an immigrant. But this after they done beat his ass.
Exactly. That's the point.
Now,
I'm saying.
with the civil part of this, he can't even open up a case to fight the fact that the police did that too.
Because they were following protocol.
Because they followed
Supposedly.
protocol. It's screwed up, man.
That's the painful part of this
I
process.
hope y'all paying attention.
So when it comes to government funding freeze,
Oh yeah.
I'm going to say that again. The government funding freeze.
Yep.
Here's what Project 2025 say. Project 2025 say the president should use every possible tool to purpose and impose physical discipline on the federal government. Anything short of that will constitute failure. So, here's what's actually happening so far. Donald Trump has signed an executive order to freeze funding, but a judge temporarily paused the freezing. Now, with that being said, as of right now, that freeze is temporarily paused. But if the freeze take place, it would affect education programs, healthcare research, housing assistance, disaster relief efforts, just to name a few.
That's the one that I seen the article on, that low-income housing would be ceased for those that are low income. Kids are probably grown, and they're still receiving, getting housing assistance, low income, but no kids in the house, and they really not, there's no use for it for you. So I seen an article where as of 2026, that's like the time clock where it starts. 2026, 2 years. That's it. That's all you get.
Right.
Once you apply for low income assistance, you only get 2 years. He's saying that low income assistance is strictly for people who need assistance. It's not forever.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. So
the key word is assistance.
Yes.
Short term,
not long term.
Forever.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. So basically, you get 2 years. 2026, everybody that's on it. 2028, you got to get up out that house. You got to go pay real rent.
So they just getting kicked off the program.
I guess the clock stops. I guess
we don't really know what's going to actually happen right now. Right now, this funding freeze is on pause because the judge was like, "Nah, hold on, let's put this on pause." But if it takes place, it'll affect the education programs. We don't know how it'll affect the education programs, but it'll affect the programs.
Yeah, I think
it'll affect healthcare research. We don't know how.
I want to say in the education program, what I think would probably be affected in that would be, how you have some kids who come to school and they have free lunch.
Yeah.
That may be affected.
I agree.
That
could be.
I don't think that, and that's why I say I don't think this is fair, because now you're actually going to the younger generation and you're hurting them. That's genocide.
Yeah, and he's going to create more crime with this.
Oh, he's already created every crime that you
so
can
much
commit.
crime.
He's done it already. He showed that he's got 30-something felony charges. He's done it.
Let me show you. Wait till I get further, because there's some more stuff I want to discuss. But let me just shoot this out there with this funding freeze, right? We already discussed the housing assistance. But think about all of the disasters that have happened across the country
In the last 5 years.
This freezing of the funds would affect disaster relief efforts. So
Meaning no cleanup.
It could be something. It could be a number of things, but it's going to affect it.
That is bad because, we've had a lot of storms, but Florida have just been getting hammered. I know a lot of people that they got those jobs where they go out there and assist
To help
fix.
Yeah.
I know people that actually took those jobs and been gone for years.
And if he takes that away, they lost their
jobs. That's bad.
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to FEMA, here's what Project 2025 say about FEMA. FEMA should be moved to the Department of Interior or combined with the Cyber Security and Infrastructure Security Agency under the Department of Transportation. Project 2025 also suggests that the president could refuse to give FEMA funds to areas that opposed him politically.
Wow.
Ooh.
Also, FEMA grants should only go to areas that can show that their mission and actions support the border homeland security mission.
Wow.
So you mean to tell me if any state,
that's what FEMA says,
state that didn't vote for him, a Democratic state
that opposed him politically, that he can refuse. That's what Project 2020. I'm sorry. That's what Project 2025 says.
Yes.
Here's what has happened thus far. Trump said he will sign an order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming and overhauling FEMA, or may just get rid of it altogether.
Damn.
I tell you, this country is going to be a third world country with this dude.
Yeah, with
in
at this
It's
point.
going to be a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to get as bad as being a third world country.
Yeah, it'll be a dictatorship.
It's going to be horrible.
If people don't step in and do something got to be done.
Now is the time.
My
basically.
goodness, because California with the fires, the mudslides, Texas with the storms, the Miami, Florida,
Floods.
floods,
We got
storms.
floods out here.
Yeah. I mean,
Really bad.
earthquakes. And you're gonna
Hurricanes.
say no assistance. Ice storms up north. My daughter's currently going through it right now. With they having a little snowstorm in Boston, and you're gonna say no assist? Nah.
So,
Come on,
so
bro.
here goes something that I'm gonna ask y'all to do. It may be a little difficult, but let me ask y'all: if y'all had to pick one thing that concerns y'all about this administration, what would it be and why? Who want to go first?
Say that again. If we could
If you
pick
had
one
to
thing,
pick one thing, just one thing about this administration that concerns you,
That concerns me.
yeah, the most, that concerns you the most, what would it be and why?
It would be the DEI. How companies are moving, especially if you're a working man or working woman. How companies move? How would they move?
Okay.
I'm going to say the Medicare, Medicaid, because you have so many elderly people who depend on this for medicine, you know, and the medicine they depend on to live. So you're going to take away the actions of them being able to get discounted prices on medicine for them to pay a price that they can't afford. That's basically saying you leaving them there to die because they can't pay for the medicine to keep themselves alive.
What about you, K Money?
I'm gonna say, messing with the federal funding,
Okay.
that possibly could, impact me later on down the line.
Okay. And for me, it's the proposal of eliminating the Department of Education.
Yeah.
And here's why. I believe the number one reason that holds us back as a race is the lack of education. There are different reasons why our race is behind the curveball when it comes to education. And some of the reasons are self-inflicted. But if you eliminate the Department of Education, it would affect funding in public schools and HBCUs. So think about this. HBCUs were created because blacks couldn't get into white institutions.
Right.
Affirmative action was implemented and things got a little bit better. So blacks were able to compete education-wise with their white counterparts. Now, affirmative action ended in 2023, and now DEI has ended. So when you put all of that together, the clock for blacks regarding education has been rolled back. That would make it harder for blacks to get into top schools, ultimately making it difficult for them to get good paying jobs as the cost of living rises. So, moving on, man. So let me ask y'all, fellas. Are y'all familiar with any of Donald Trump's cabinet nominees? Just one. Are y'all familiar with any one of them?
I don't know, not one soul.
Okay. What about you, Comedian 96?
I can't name one.
Okay. What about you, K Money?
Is that hell sick person one of them?
Okay. I know what you're talking about. So, yeah, he is one. Pete Hessick. Okay. So, there are 22 cabinet nominees. As of now, 11 of the 22 are confirmed. Do y'all agree or disagree that all of Donald Trump's cabinet nominees support his MAGA agenda?
I agree.
Oh, I'm sure they are supporting it.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Even if they didn't, I don't think that they would voice it if they, especially
Right. This
wanted
is
to
a job
take
for
it.
them.
Yeah.
They wasn't roped off the inauguration for nothing.
Okay.
They were all roped off together.
Okay. Do y'all believe that to be a part of Donald Trump's cabinet, your qualifications are secondary to your loyalty and understanding of him?
Yep.
Yes.
Your qualifications are secondary.
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
to
yeah.
have the same mind frame as him. To
Probably
roll
don't
with
even
him.
have to have no qualifications. Just as long
Exactly.
as you,
As long as you feel the way
he do.
Yeah.
you straight.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So, With that being said, here are a few people that are in charge or could eventually be in charge of important positions in this country. So let's start with our president, Donald Trump. As we know, Trump has already signed a number of executive orders. However, some black folks may be blind to what's going on. Case in point, Trump signed an executive order to restore freedom of speech and end federal censorship. So by him signing that executive order, what are y'all thoughts of that?
We've always had freedom of speech. So the shit he signed and ain't signing, he ain't signed. You ain't did nothing.
Okay, what's your thought?
He took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, it's we've always had it. So you're
Okay.
not impressing me at all.
What do you think, K-Money?
Well, we've always had it, but what about our kids? That's who it's going to impact.
Oh,
Okay, so now I'm going to say this again, then I'll share my thoughts. Donald Trump signed an executive order to, keywords, restore freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. That's the order. Restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. Now, with that being said, let me share what my thoughts are in regards to that. I'm in line with you, part ways in regards to freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. Freedom of speech is protected by the First Amendment.
Right.
The only reason Donald Trump will feel the need to sign an executive order, in my opinion, is because he wants white people to be able to use words that are degrading and disrespectful without any repercussions. Mm-hmm. Like in the Jim Crow days.
Yeah.
The first word that comes to mind is nigger.
Yeah. I believe
Before he took office, if a white executive said that word at work, he or she would be fired and the company would be sued. This executive order protects them.
not from a bullet, but
Yeah. but that's so. But when you think,
but from
yeah,
getting
but when
sued.
when you think about it though,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, not
people
saying
gonna do whatever
they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
But
You,
why
fight.
would you
yeah.
even go sign an order
To
for something that's
wanna do that.
already
Yeah.
there, something
Yeah.
that's already protected?
Yeah, yeah.
Now you just want people to be able to say and say anything
Like him,
without
an idiot.
without getting any repercussions.
Yeah.
There be no repercussions.
Everybody be just as much as an idiot as I am.
Ain't no
is what he
and,
wants.
and those are the things that go over
Right.
some of our people's heads.
Yeah.
They ain't seeing it that way.
Well, it's the lack of education, like you say, and the knowledge is part of it. If you don't know
But if you,
what we talking about,
but
you're
here's
in trouble.
Here's the thing: wouldn't he, if you think about it, the way you just said it, they would have to eliminate hate crime. Think about it. They would have to eliminate hate crime.
Here's the thing. All of this, I agree, but all of this is just starting. It's the beginning
Yes.
of things to come.
Yeah.
So trust me, it's gonna come.
Yeah, that's important. What you just mentioned, Community 96, in regards to how it would affect that hate crime law.
Because if you call somebody
Yeah.
the N word at work, and they
look at
militant.
It this way. Look at it this way. You know that one of Elon Musk's young staffers went on a racist rant on social media.
Oh, I didn't know.
And the vice president said that he should keep his job. The vice president said that he should keep his job. The president agreed with the vice president, and Elon Musk agreed too. So
Yeah, I know
whether
that's
it's using the word nigger or if it's just talking reckless to you, boy,
Oh no! See, that's
get over there, boy.
Yeah, they want that to be okay. They want that to be
You understand
okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's whatever. Just talking greasy.
I just call him boy. He got upset.
It's not
Yeah.
okay.
It's not how
So-
you put too many eyes at the end.
Yeah. So moving on, right? Here's an executive order that Donald Trump signed, and these are things that black folks, in my opinion,
Need to think about.
need to think about.
I agree.
Here's something. An order that was signed restoring names to honor America's greatness.
Oh no.
What are your thoughts?
All that,
What are your thoughts?
all that Confederate
Yeah.
stuff that we
Yeah.
took down is basically coming back.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
And I'm
that's
definitely against that, man.
Yeah,
We
bring these
just
statues back.
I'm gonna tell you, we was
These landmarks.
Yeah, we was half cocked on that anyway. We have 6 flags over Texas, and one of the flags, the very first one, is a Confederate flag. So we begged for all that stuff to come down, but nobody said you need to change that to 5 flags over Texas. No one said that. One of those 6 flags is a Confederate flag. People need to understand that.
And here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with that. So, first of all, we all understand what that means.
Right.
yeah.
But that's something that the average folk, they get we so caught up with the mass deportation and DEI. You ain't looking at this other stuff that
right.
I'm
Yeah, those
talking
distractions.
about. It's distraction. They steady
Distraction.
cutting up. They steady cutting up.
This is what it is.
They
Yep.
steady cutting up.
And all we looking at is the fires.
Yeah. So now, what I want to do. Remember, I told y'all that he had that 22 people nominees. 11 of the 22 have been confirmed. Now I'm not going over all of the people that
Right.
have been confirmed. I just wanted to point out just some people that are gonna be running the country or already running the country have a major role, right? And we just talked about the president, right? So the next person I want to talk about is the defense secretary, and Keith K. Money.
Yes, sir.
You actually mentioned his name. You said Hessis. First
Hedseth.
name is Pete.
Pete Hedseth.
He's currently your defense secretary. Now, prior to becoming the defense secretary, he was a political commentator for Fox News since 2014.
Uh-huh.
So y'all may recall, I asked y'all a question. I said, do y'all believe that these people qualifications come secondary
Yeah.
to the loyalty
Yeah.
and his agenda? So, in other words, they don't really got to be qualified.
Right.
Just believe like I believe, and
That's
I'm gonna
it.
put you in.
And I'm gonna get you. Right,
So
right.
Pete Hegseth is now our defense secretary, military and some more stuff, major departments.
No experience.
No, he was prior to being a defense secretary, he was a political commentator for Fox News. Now,
So he has no
none. Now check this out. He allegedly sexually assaulted a woman in a hotel room. Now,
Well, shit,
he claimed
Donald Trump is-
he claimed it was consensual, but later paid her an undisclosed sum as part of a non-disclosure agreement.
Didn't Donald Trump say pop him in the pussy or some shit?
Grab him by the pussy.
Grab him by the pussy. Okay. Well, hey,
Now check this out.
his views are just just saying.
And Pete Hegseth's mom accused him of mistreating women.
His
His own mother.
His own mama.
Wow.
It's serious.
Oh, we got some devils in the White House.
The thing is, we don't need to turn a blind eye to none of this stuff.
Now, also, it's documented that he allegedly have a drinking problem.
Probably.
Yeah, it's documented that he allegedly got a drinking problem.
But he's qualified.
Now, he also suggested that immigrants were bringing disease into the United States. Now,
I don't disagree with that, but
here's the thing.
I get it.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're in a position that you're holding like that, you can't just be saying that like that.
Not like that. Yeah.
Because there could be an immigrant coming over here. Now, notice he said immigrant and not illegal immigrant. He said immigrant.
They could be legal.
You can come over here and have a cold. That's a disease.
COVID.
I mean, but we travel. People
We
travel.
travel.
We travel, but we
We
have to
can
take
go-
our shots before we travel,
Yeah.
right?
But you can still
So
come back.
Here's my point, though. My
Yeah.
point is if you're in a position like that, I'm sorry, K Money.
No, you're good.
If you're in a position like that, and you're saying that these people bringing over these diseases, that's kind of equivalent to saying these black folks got these diseases.
Right.
Okay. I know this is the one thing that I'm not going to agree with on this because I kind of agree with, I hate to say this.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Trump on this one. Let me tell you why. I was just watching, it's so crazy we talking about this. I was just watching an episode last night. This, it's called, what is it called? When they to catch a smuggler, but it's Mediterranean now. They have a kind of Mediterranean. There was a shipment that came in of flowers. It was going to the flower stores all over the U.S., all right? But in that shipment, it had moths. And they clearly said if the moths are dead, the shipment can come in. However, if those moths are alive, we got to take the shipment back to where it came from because we don't want the diseases and whatever they have, those bugs, to come into the U.S. and infect us. Get what I'm saying? So look at it this way. Somebody on a boat, they didn't came over from Cuba or Mexico and they on the boat. They ain't took no shots. They don't know nothing. They just over here. They have something, don't know they have something, and they're just giving it to us. You get what I'm saying? I can kind of see what he's saying on that as far as disease is concerned. We don't need no new diseases, especially after COVID.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to push back on that,
Yeah.
but let me say this. You're from Texas, right?
Yes.
And I'm not pushing back on that,
Yeah.
so we can move on.
Yes.
You're from Texas, right?
Yes.
If you got a cold right now, and I know this may seem minute, but if you got a cold right now, and you fly to California, you're bringing that cold to California, and you stop in the store to go get you a soda or some water, you could potentially be spreading those germs.
That's true.
So all I'm saying is, and I'm not pushing back on you.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, when you're holding a position like that, you need to be careful with your choice of words when you got followers and you're a leader.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Well,
He
when
could
you-
said it better. You're right.
When you unqualified for a job, this is what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, Slash. I'm glad you said that, because here's something that Pete Hessick received backlash from. He suggested the U.S. should use nuclear weapons against North Korea. Critics urge that such a stance was reckless and could lead to catastrophic consequences.
World War III.
So you, just because you got nuclear weapons, you just can't be firing them things off like that. You got to sit down and be diplomatic to talk and to do some
Exactly.
talking.
Man, them people gonna kill everybody, bro.
Yeah, and
With this
then
foolishness.
and then we don't even have. I think our defense system can only capture 83% of bombs that are sent over. 17%, you don't need but like 3 or 4. 17% would be 3 or 4. If they
It's
sent
only gonna
100,
take-
that means 17 getting into the state.
One nuclear weapon can take a lot of people out.
Yeah, you only have 1, 2, 2, 3, depending on where it lands. Yeah,
And so, allegedly, he stated that women who report sexual harassment are often lying. Now, we do know that there are some liars, but you can't just say that, man,
You can't
because
say
that
that, yeah.
eliminates the women who aren't lying.
And it makes people not take it seriously. It needs to be taken seriously when a woman says that. Matters whether she's lying or not. It needs to be taken seriously
Yeah.
because
But-
these events do happen.
right. Consequences need to happen. What needs to happen on sexual harassment, whether it's true or false, consequences need to be drastic both ways. Right now, what's happening is when it becomes false, it's just swept under the rug.
Yeah,
I
if she's
agree with
lying-
you.
If
The-
she's lying, it
Yeah.
needs to
I
be
agree, it
something.
should be
Something needs
something
to
to
happen.
happen.
She need to
I
get
agree.
the same sentence that I
Yeah.
was gonna get. She
I
need
agree
to
with
get
that.
it.
Hey, this is a prime example, though, of me saying, how I feel Donald Trump is worse than how he used to be. He's always been reckless in things that he said, but look at the things that he's saying now. Again, these are things that he's actually done in the past, and now to try to eliminate. I lost train of thought. I'm sorry, fellas.
I think what he's doing is trying to move forward to prevent anybody from being able to take his job.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, definitely
and at the same time, he's trying to find someone to take over his job when he leaves, so he can
That's going to be
continue.
just like him.
Yes.
And so, with that being said, I know we discussed DEI a little bit more before, but this is all in regards to Pete Hessick, right? So check this out before we move on here. So Pete Hessick has directed the creation of a DEI task force to ensure no DEI programs remain in the Pentagon. He stated, "We're not joking around. There's no changing of names or softly manipulating something, DEI is gone. Now, here are 11 suspended annual events that used to happen in the Pentagon that no longer happens anymore. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Black History Month, Juneteenth, Women's History Month, Holocaust Day, Holocaust Day of Remembrance, Pride Month, Asian American Pacific Island Heritage Month, Women Equality Day, National Hispanic Heritage Month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, National American Indian Heritage Months. So
Let me. Can you repeat the Hispanic one? Because I want Hispanic people to know you voted for him. You guys pushed for him more than anybody.
National Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah, but you voted for him.
Mm-hmm. Now, in my opinion, this is starting at the Pentagon, but I believe it'll have a domino effect throughout the country.
Oh yeah, over the years it's gonna get much worse than where it's at now.
So again, just to keep your memories fresh, I'm not going through all the 11 cabinet members, but I just want to touch on a few of the people who are in places that could affect you. Right now, this next one is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, right now, his confirmation is pending. Mm-hmm. He's already deal with the hearing and all that stuff. It's just pending. But if he gets in, he's going to be over Health and Human Resources.
I thought he was one of the good ones. The Kennedys.
Nah, man, that guy.
Even family members
more
speaking against him.
Conspiracy rhetoric when it comes to health, and that he doesn't really rely on medical science. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of conspiracy stuff. Mm. So that's just something to think about. And with that being said, let me just put it to you in layman's terms, right? It's like you have a person, the person that's in charge of healthcare, that's kind of equivalent to a person in charge of NASA, but that person that's in charge of NASA believes that the world is flat.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah, that's scary. Mm-hmm. That's a scary thought.
Now, this other person that could, and their confirmation is pending also. Her name is Linda McMahon. Do the last name sound familiar to y'all?
Yeah, McMahon.
Okay.
John McMahon?
It could be a whole bunch of different McMahons.
Yeah. Bunch of them, yeah.
So, when I tell you about her, and this is all about the cabinet members, and this is all about whether or not their qualifications, do their loyalty to Trump supersedes them having to be qualified for a position. We already talked about Trump, and we've already talked about Hessig and what he used to do. So Linda McMahon, they want to put her, if her confirmation is pending, but she'll be the educational secretary. The educational secretary. Now, she's the co-founder of the World Wrestling Federation. Her husband is Vince McMahon.
That's who I thought it was, yeah.
Her husband is Vince McMahon.
We got a wrestling lady in the office.
Now, check this out, though. Check this out.
No qualification.
She applied to be on the Connecticut Board of Education, and she actually became a board member, right? She ended up resigning about a year later before an article revealed that she lied about a teaching degree. She actually had a teaching certificate. She didn't have a degree. She ain't got a degree. Now, she's also accused of turning a blind eye, her and her husband, in regards to sexual abuse in the WWE, where her husband and her were being sued by 5 former ring boys. Now, the ring boys, they were teenagers who helped set up the rings before the fights, and they were being sexually abused by the ring announcer, who has since passed away.
Wow.
And here's another thing about her. She also tipped off a wrestling doctor about a criminal investigation into his malpractice. So this is who's going to be running. If she's nominated, this is who's going to be running the education, the Department of Education. She's going to be education secretary. Now, finally, with this person, this next person, this is actually going to shock a lot of people because a lot of people think that this person is a part of Donald Trump's cabinet, but he's not. He's not. So, and that person is Elon Musk. He's not a part of Trump's cabinet. However, he's over the Department of Government Efficiency. He is considered a special government employee and does not need to have a Senate confirmation hearing. A special government employee is anyone who works or is expected to work for the government for 130 days or less in a 365-day period. Trump confirmed that Musk has access to the Treasury Department, critical payment systems, which sends out money on behalf of the entire federal government. Musk has a top secret security clearance, but it's not being paid.
Sounds like to me he still have a vote.
He still has. He definitely
has
has
to
a
say
say.
so in
Yeah.
Yeah, he has his ear.
Yeah, he don't need the money.
He's not a part of the cabinet.
He don't need the money.
But he has his ear.
He's not officially part of the cabinet,
Yeah,
but
he
he's a
don't
part
need
of
the
the
money.
cabinet.
He need the moves. He don't need the money. He need the moves to get more money.
So
yeah.
here's a little something about him. Of course, we know the Nazi salute that he did. Y'all remember seeing that? Mm-hmm. He allegedly has endorsed a tweet suggested black students at historical black colleges and universities have low IQs and shouldn't become pilots. Allegedly, he has also claimed that the United Airlines program that allows students at 3 HBCUs to interview for pilot positions prioritize DEI hiring over safeties.
That's interesting. You said that they don't have high IQs to become pilots. Do they have enough IQ to come work for him? That's what
I'm glad you said that. Almost 6,000 black workers from Tesla, California factory, has filed a lawsuit claiming that the factory production floor was a hotbed for racist behavior.
That answered my question. I knew it. And you notice you said factory. You didn't say airline. You didn't say, someone that's working in the computer or in SpaceX or something like that.
It's not a federal.
Yeah. It's factory.
It's assembly line of factory.
Right.
It's factory.
You ain't got them up here. You want to keep them down in the factory.
Exactly.
All right. Now, before I give my black fact, I want to say to all blacks in America, the MAGA movement is real and moving full steam ahead. Good luck to you and your family. Now, for my black fact, you can't take back. Today's black fact is the first black person to own land. His name is Anthony Johnson. He was an indentured servant in 1621. He earned his freedom after several years and was granted land by the colony. The colonial government granted Johnson a large plot of farmland after he paid off his indentured contract with his labor. On July 24th, 1651, he acquired 250 acres of land. This concludes another dope episode of Black Friday. Tune in next week for Music Monday. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and for all my YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe.